All right, welcome to my channel. It's a strength and style channel. It's primarily a natural bodybuilding channel, but I also like to share some of my style ideas. Not really high end, more of like I'm a very creative person, not like drawing, but I dance and I like to use my body to do movements. And I like for that to reflect in my clothing choices. So whenever I choose clothing, it's not just like, oh, is everyone wearing this or does it make sense? I like it to embody the person I feel. Check out this cup. I love weekends. $1.99 at your thrift store. Um, so yeah. Now, how did I get into natural bodybuilding? So when I was a kid, I was the kid that got bullied a lot. It was always I had my thighs were big, my arms were big, all the things that media tells you now you gotta have. You gotta have the big hips, the big everything. Now it's everyone wants it, right? But when I was a kid and I had all this, everyone made fun of me for it. And so I would always wear long sleeves. I would always like cover up. And I think when I started to fully expose that I was in natural bodybuilding, people were just like, how are you so fit? How do you look like this? I've always kind of looked like this. Now, bodybuilding helped me to tone it and get it to where it looks refined. But I've always looked like this. So whenever I hear people are like, oh, I'm like, many years ago, you would have made fun of this very thing you're telling me. Like, yep, that's it. So my page is not about perfection, it's about doing your best with what you have and sticking into the whole natural bodybuilding pursuit. When I say natural, I have never had anything in my system since the beginning of time, since I was a fetus. And this is probably why you don't see me compete every 5 minutes, because if you're a natural bodybuilder, there's absolutely no way your body is equipped to do competitions after competitions. And then that you see on the Instagram or whatever, it's like they're always at 3%, 6% body fat, and that's not healthy. And you're also talking to someone who's recovered or recovering from disordered eating. If you sound like you're selling people harmful conversation pieces, I'm not going to be a fan of that. I just don't, I don't buy that. Now, sadly, are there naive people that reach out to me and they're like, how do I get like you tomorrow? I'm like, well, you can stay in the gym for 15 years like I've done since I was a teenager. That's when I joined the gym. But then they either like block you, remove you, because they want to hear that you did this 2 months ago and now you look like this. They want to hear that you woke up and then magically you had these arms, or like your core started to go in place. I don't have perfect core. You have to work out a lot. I would drop meal prep ideas. I would drop my workout. I would drop how much I had to watch my food. I've done this for years and years, probably 8 years. If you've known me, you've known that I've dropped like I'm doing time. It didn't matter. And people will still reach out and tell me, I saw you wear something once. Is that why you look like this? And I just want to die of embarrassment for them, because you're an adult. A child can think that way. But when an adult thinks like that, I feel like it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me if I look at a content creator who has a mansion and millions, but they've spent 10, 20 years making a YouTube channel that eventually got them there. I'll be an idiot and I'll feel embarrassed to reach out to them and say, how can I get like you in 2 months? I would be embarrassed, but I also have shame. I also have pride. I also have common sense to know anything someone works for must have taken them years and years and years. And so natural bodybuilding is like that. It does take time. It takes making mistakes. I remember the first year I stepped into the gym. Now remember, I was working out besides the gym because I was that kid. People were like the fat kid, right? When I look at my picture then, I wasn't fat. I just was not. I didn't. You didn't tone. You didn't know the proper way to exercise. I would jog. But that's what people called you when you had big thighs, big arms, everything. You're just fat, right? So I was even working out before then. So when I hear people say that to me, it just a part of me. It used to break my heart, and it used to like, when you have a little bit of rage that forms in when people take work you've done for years and then they reduce it to this, like, it must have happened overnight. Now I just look at it as like I'm an educator of children. And even my children know that if I'm writing in cursive, we've had this conversation and they're like, Miss A, your handwriting is so nice. And then I tell them, Miss A is 800 years old. It took a while to get here. You'll get here. So even my kid understands, my kids in class understand good things take time, right? When I look at adults who have those comments or they write it under there, how can I get it? I don't know if they realize how foolish that sounds. I want to say that. I'm just going to get it off my chest. It sounds utterly foolish, right? So if you're trying to embark on a fitness journey or natural bodybuilding, remember, specifically natural bodybuilding, if you're trying to go the other route of taking steroids, my page is not for you. It's not for you. Natural bodybuilding is slow, is steady, it's consistent, and you don't have to compete to say you're natural bodybuilding. You just have to follow the rules of natural bodybuilding. And step one, be natural. Yeah. You're not taking steroids, you're not taking anything or enhancement. Be natural. That is what classifies as natural bodybuilding. And step two, you gotta wanna lift some type of weight. Some women are like, I like your body, but I don't wanna lift weights. Then you're not, please step up. The page is not for you. And that's okay. It's not for you. It's fine. Three, you gotta wanna eat differently. It's just, it's fact. You have to want to eat differently. Four, you gotta like it. You gotta like, I don't know how people, I don't, okay. Well, four, uh, four, you gotta wanna be in it. Like, I'm not kidding. You gotta, if you enjoy running, right? You wanna be in it because you enjoy it, because it takes a lot of work. The same with natural bodybuilding. If you enjoy natural bodybuilding, you gotta like it because it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of mental capacity. It takes that you are honest with yourself, which leads me to the fifth one. You gotta be honest. So there are five principles. You gotta be honest. The last one of honesty is the biggest one I'll tell you. When I started competing in natural bodybuilding, remember, you're already working out, then you decide to compete in natural bodybuilding. There were a lot of things that I needed to also contend with. And that was a lot of my disordered eating, or eating disorder that I had to have this conversation with. Like, it had always plagued me since I was a kid. Since I was 7, moved into this country, everyone told me, you're fat, you don't fit in. My parents were. Um, And so, no tools to effectively actually do what you're asking me to do. Just your fat, get rid of it. And as a child, you don't know what else to do but to comply and do whatever you can. But after years of doing it wrong, as you become an adult and you try to do it correctly, it takes a while to get your body back to where you're thinking and your mind. You're seeing food the way it should be seen. So, if you're on my page, I'm 2025, we're all grown ups. I'm not going to tell lies or jokes or anything to make you feel happy about yourself. I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I'm going to take you through honest workouts. And I'm going to like tell you that maybe this isn't for you. So if you're on my page because you're working out and you love it, I love it for us. But if you're here because you want something overnight, this may not be for you, but that's okay. You can still stick around, or you can go to a different page that fits what you're looking for. So Thank you for joining, and